Speaking of the romantic love, the first country that popped up in our mind is France. Not only us, many people share the same opinion. Why?
So today we are going to talk about the topic that romantic love and culture in China and France.
This is our
contents.
contents. In a social survey, young people in Shanghai and Chengdu were asked about the keywords for romantic love. 65% of contemporary young people's understanding of love was characterized by relationship norms. And the following keywords for romantic love were summarized as responsibility, consideration and support, loyalty, enduring friendship, and so on. Based on scholarly investigations, we define romantic love in China in 3 stages. In the early stage, biological dispositions might be dominant in Chinese relationships. As the relationship progresses, cultural influence, like the social expectations and obligations, may overshadow attraction for the Chinese. In the long term, Chinese romantic love emphasizes commitment, loyalty, and enduring friendship. So, when it comes to expressing romantic love in China, there are 4 key characteristics to keep in mind. First thing first, Chinese couples tend to value long-lasting relationship. They think love as something that should overcome the challenge of time. Secondly, expressing commitment is really important in Chinese culture. Persons are more likely to commit and to express their courage to keep the permanent relationship. Thirdly, actions speak louder than words. Instead of just saying I love you, people are often show their love through thoughtful actions, like cooking for their partners or take good care when they're in need. And finally, there's a concept of altruism. This basically means that if you are truly love someone, you are willing to do anything for them. People in China often consider this as a critical concept of true love.
In 2012, 202 students in different libraries of Paris Descartes answered to the questionnaire about passionate love. And the results showed that the most frequently mentioned keywords are love, sex, happiness, madness, emotion, desire, share, and joy. We also define romantic love in France in 3 stages. When it comes to love, the French are simple and direct. In the second stage, French people tend to associate romantic love with intense feelings or strong emotions. In the third stage, they believe that love has a power to break all shackles, even it may be ephemeral and irrational. The French expression of romantic love is divided in 2 parts. First is love happens. The French are always ready to love and be loved, and they emphasize the unity of love and sex, express the intention of sexual satisfaction directly. The third is non-exclusivity. They may have a lot of sexual partners, but it doesn't affect their romantic love in every relationship. After love happens, in the development of love, first and foremost, is physical. You may often see couples hugging and kissing on the street in France. They also pay attention to spiritual expression. And in France, wedding anniversaries are more important than birthdays. Finally, it should be noted that the culture of cheating in France is not considered as taboo as it is in other countries, where French society certainly disapproves of cheating. This disapproval is often contingent on the perceived worthlessness of the betrayed partner. This culture is romantic in the Middle Ages of France.
In both China and France, romantic love makes use of various obstacles to represent it. The typical Chinese love stories, such as the butterfly lovers and the fairy couples, always illustrate lovers faced with the dilemma of respecting duty or satisfying their romantic desire. In the best-known French love stories, there is also conflicts between interest and love. The Lady of Camellia and Notre Dame de Paris, for example, the couples have to face the obstacles for their love, and their relationship always ends up in tragedy. What's more, in terms of marriage, China and France have gone through the process from marriage arrangement to marriage freedom. Chinese marriage have traditionally made by family. Coincidentally, French marriage in the Middle Age, at least in the upper class, was also contract related to the exchange of power and property.
When it comes to love and sex, the Chinese and the French have different views. Studies in China shows that males are more eager to kiss and have sex in relationships than females. But 42.6% of males are still unwilling to have sex on a first date. This suggests that traditional cultural expectations around sexual intimacy still have a big impact on young adults in China. But for French people, love is always associated with sex, even cheating. As we can see in the social surveys on French people representation of love, sex is closely tied with love. They won't attach too much importance to the commitment but enjoy the brevity of time and celebrate the immediacy of pleasure. As for love, expectation, and marriage, the ideas of the Chinese significantly differ from that of France. In China, love is shared in a social context, and the marriage should take into account obligations to the parents and family. In traditional China, one was not only married to one spouse but the entire kinship household. However, love is an important basis for marriage in France. One cannot marry a person without love. And in contemporary France, marriage is not so popular. Marriage is an emotional contract, not a business contract. The institution of marriage is not an institution in France at all. The next difference is courtship and dating. In China, the primary purpose of courtship and dating is oriented towards marriage. Chinese people view dating as a means of finding a potential spouse, rather than simply developing a friendship. However, with the increasing popularity of dating apps, the purpose of modern Chinese dating has shifted. According to a survey, 89% of dating apps users are more interested in meeting friends of the opposite sex, rather than searching for potential partners. In contrast, French courtship is more direct and straightforward. There are no detours or unnecessary steps in dating process. French people openly express their satisfaction with sexual intimacy, and when it comes to love, French people think more about their subjective feelings and seldom consider outside factors. As we can see from the chart, there is a high rate of acceptance of marital indiscretion in France compared to China. In the Middle Age, love was to be found outside the marriage, leading to the mythic French threesome: the husband, the wife, and the mistress. According to the statistic of YouGov and Gligden, we can see in contemporary France, French men and women are increasingly likely to cheat on their partners in their lifetime.
Overall, China romantic love emphasized long-term relationship, commitment, fidelity, and the importance of marriage. French romantic love places more importance on personal feeling and expressed in a similar and straightforward way. Meanwhile, marriage patterns in China and France have become more liberal. Let's see the reason behind this phenomenon. The reasons for the similarity and differences are the following two levels. From a culture level, it is first the religion. The Chinese believe in Buddhism and Taoism. Their belief in destiny and love is formed naturally. But in France, even though around 60% of the population believes in Catholicism, they are still willing to against the doctrine for love. On the other hand, Chinese and French values also differ. With the Chinese being more collectivist, the collectivist society are unlikely to consider the love as the basis of marriage. The French tend to be more individualist, while the society is totally opposite. Romantic love is highly respected and essential for personal satisfaction. Okay, let's move to the social level. National policy influenced the understanding of romantic love to some extent. Chinese tax policy is very friendly to married couples, while the French tax system favors single person and cohabitants. For example, the French property tax starts at 3.5 million francs. If they marry, a couple with a high property have to pay a very high tax. And if they divorce, each would pay a very little tax, while they could still live together. The economic environment also shapes people's view on marriage. The region with the highest marriage rate is usually underdeveloped. Modernization had led young adults to have greater social mobility and freedom of personal expression. China's economy was relatively backwards in early years. Together with the social and economic development for the recent decade, the rapid transformation had led more materialism when they're considering romantic love. Lastly, the social status of women must take into consideration. Under the influence of Communist Party and Confucianism, Chinese women are more submissive and subservient to their father and husband. In France, where women are more enlightened and have higher social standards, women are in complete control of their lives and marriages.
Before we finish, let's have some food for thought. The cultural symbols of wine, chocolate, and perfume have long been associated with the concept of romance, which has its roots in French culture. It's known that the romantic period of the French have strongly influenced urban China. So how do modern French and Chinese romantic values intersect and impact the attitudes of contemporary young people towards love? And the next one is the French emphasize the immediate pleasure of love, but many French literature works depict tragic love. So how do you understand the paradox of French love? This is our reference. Thanks to Michelle, James, and our classmates for listening to our presentation.